Hello everyone. Welcome to the solution of LeetCode problem 1905 named Count Sub-Island. In this problem, we are given two-dimensional grid, which is grid 1 and grid 2, including the value 0 and 1. Here, 0 represents water and 1 represents land. Now, in the grid 2, we have to determine how many sub-island we can get. Here, what is the sub-island? And closed region with 1 is considered as sub-island if all of the element in this region has equal to 1 in both of the first and second grid. Suppose let's consider this one, this red one. In this region, the corresponding value is 1 in the both first and second grid. So it is one of the sub-island. Similarly for this one also. Now, for this 6 cell in the above, this is one of the sub-island because the corresponding cells in the first grid is also 1 for this red marked cell. So here we can see that there are in total 3 sub-island. I hope you understood the problem statement. Now let's move on to the algorithm. In this problem, to understand the algorithm, we should use the depth first search in the two-dimensional grid. So here, our cell is 4 connected. That means its left, right, up and right and down cell are connected to this one. So here, the algorithm is pretty simple. We have to scan each of the element in the second grid. And if we find any of the element equal to 1, that means we have to start the DFS. Suppose for this one, we can go either up, left, down or right. But here, up, left and down, this possible moves is invalid because up and left is out of bound and down has water. So we can go to the right. Similarly, from this one, we can go to the right. From this one, we can go to the down. From this one, we can go to the right. And from this one, we can go to the right. And in each of the iteration, we will check whether the corresponding value in the first grid is equal to 1 or not. So here we can see that the corresponding value in the first grid is also equal to 1, which is this region. So here we can see that this can be one of the sub-island. Now, suppose for this node 1, it is a land node which is equal to 1. So from here, we can go either up, right, left or down. But all of the cells are equal to 0, which is equal to water, so we cannot move. But unfortunately, this value 0 is represents to the water. So here we cannot consider this node as one of the sub-island because it is land, but unfortunately its corresponding value in the first matrix is equal to water. Similarly, in the first or this node, which is equal to 1, we cannot move in any of the 4 direction because this 3 direction has water and this direction is out of bound. But fortunately, its corresponding node is equal to 1. So we can consider this as one of the sub-island. Similarly, for this node, the corresponding node is 1. So we can consider this one of the sub-island. But for this node 1, the corresponding node, which is this, is exactly equal to 0. That means it is land, but it is water. So this one cannot be a part of any of the sub-island. So here we can see that we can find 3 of the sub-island by using the DFS in a two-dimensional grid method. And this is how we're gonna solve this problem. I hope you understood the algorithm. Now let's move on to the code. In this problem, the code is pretty simple. At first, we are given a function named count sub-islands, which has two-dimensional grid 1 and grid 2. Now, in the n and m, we are calculating the dimension of the grid. And for each of the cell, if the current cell in the grid 2 is 1, that means it is a water cell. Sorry, it is the land cell. Let's assume the corresponding region is a sub-island. So let's make the check is equal to true and recursively call the DFS function into the corresponding cell, which is I and j. Now, in the DFS function, if the corresponding I and j becomes out of bound, that means I is less than 0, or j is less than 0, or I is greater than equal to n, or j is greater than equal to m, or the corresponding I and j is 2, or it is a water cell, that means we have to simply return. Otherwise, if the corresponding I and j value in the first grid is water, but in the second grid is land, we have to make check equal to false because the current island cannot become sub-island. Now after that, we have to mark visited to the current node, which is equal to 2. And we have to recursively call the DFS function into its 4 of the direction, which is I plus 1j, I minus 1j, ij plus 1, and ij minus 1. Finally, if the check is equal to true, that means the current node or the current region is a sub-island. We have to add 1 to the answer. Finally, we have to return the answer, which has the count of number of sub-islands. I hope you understood the code. Thank you everyone for watching the video. We will get back soon with another LeetCode solution.